Hello friends, welcome to the channel. My name is Lee and today I decided to test out my Sailor Tuzu fountain pen with a drawing demo. So I drew a variation of this drawing right here on some watercolor paper using my Sailor Tuzu and the D'Artramontis document ink in Urban Gray. After I did the initial drawing, I found myself ending up adding color, and this is how it turned out. So you get to see the process for that. So let's go ahead and jump into it. But before we do, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave any questions, comments, or concerns in the comment section down below. All right, let's get into this. All right, so here we have the Sailor Tuzu, which I am using for the underdrawing of this drawing slash ink painting. I've got it inked up with the D'Artramontis document ink in Urban Gray, which is the same ink that I had in my Lama Safari. What I'm doing here is directly comparing the Tuzu to the Lamy Safari because I bought the Tuzu as a potential replacement for the Lamy Safari in my sketchbook because I've really enjoyed using the Lamy Safari for sketching, but I decided to try out the Tuzu because the finger grips on the Lamy Safari actually do end up causing me some issues um, when I'm drawing. So I thought with the Tuzu having the ability to rotate the finger grip um, would actually solve that problem. The issue, though, that I've discovered, and I talked a little bit about it in my first impressions of the Sailor Tuzu, is that the feel of the Sailor Tuzu is very different than the feel of the Lamy Safari. So I felt a little bit, um, not scammed, but done dirty a little bit by this. I can't even remember it's like a review channel who they compared the Sailor Tuzu to the Lamy Safari, saying that it was a really similar feel in the hand and design of the pen. And I just really disagree with that. I think they're very, very different pens. Really, the only thing about them that I find to be similar is the fact that they both happen to have notches for your to place your fingers in, um but the notches feel incredibly different. Here's a little spider friend that I met while I was um drawing. That guy's been actually hanging around my studio for a few days now and I haven't been able to catch him, but anyway. So yeah, I just felt like the two pens are actually very, very different. um They have a few subtle similarities that maybe look like big similarities on paper, but when you're actually using them, uh, they show up very differently in the way they feel and perform. So, um, I think generally speaking, I prefer the Lamy Safari over the Sailor Tuzu, and the Lamy Safari is a more affordable pen. They're both fine nib pens. I think for the Sailor, I'm probably not gonna buy another one, but if I did and I wanted it to substitute my Lamy Safari, I would probably go for the medium nib instead of the fine nib, um, because I think that the fine on the Sailor is significantly finer than the nib on the Lamy. And I mean, that does track. I've heard that um, the German, I am pretty sure the Lamy is a German pen and the Sailor is a Japanese pen, and that it's pretty normal for the uh, German or more European style, Western style pens to have like a slightly broader nibs in their nib sizing system. So like a fine in a Western style is going to be more like a medium for an Eastern style nib. So, and then of course the Sailor is an Eastern style. So that tracks. It's not surprising and it's not like a deal breaker for the pin or anything, but it is something to be aware of. I wanted to get the fine in this pin because really the only other like uh, Eastern style pins that I have are super cheap ones. And I just wanted to see what it was like. Like, what did that look like for this pin? So I've done that. And yeah, here's Albert saying hello. He had to get a little bit of a attention, and he does not like it when I am giving my art more attention than him. So, and he's such a cutie patootie. Um, but yeah, so those are my thoughts on the Sailor Tuzu. It's a nice pen. I do think it's worth buying. In turn, like if you have a collection and you just really want something to add to your collection just for the fun of it, or you just need to try something new, I think it's a decent pen. I personally, I don't think that the rotating cuff for your fingers is a gimmick. It's actually really useful. I just don't think they're as defined as I would like them to be. So you can see here, I have made the underpainting for my drawing and then gone over with some colored inks. I've used the 54th Massachusetts by Noodlers and also the Bad Green Gator by Noodlers. These are both waterproof inks, which is why I chose them. And I just felt like with the size of the painting, the De Archimontis document ink in Urban Gray was not giving me the contrast that I wanted to make the design pop. And so I just decided to add these color washes to the painting. So, yeah, overall, just to sum it all up, I think I prefer the Lamy Safari in an overall sense for sketching over the Sailor Tuzu. I did do a little bit of writing with the Sailor Tuzu last night, and I do like the way it handles for writing. But for writing for me, the kind of feature of the pen, the rotating little pen grip, um, that doesn't really apply for writing. So, yeah, I'm sure I will end up picking up this pen here and there. And I am going to use it a little bit more for like daily sketching too in my normal sketchbook. But overall, I would say I prefer the Lamy Safari. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. I did also use a few other pens on this drawing. The um, the Jinhao 992 inked up with the 54th Massachusetts. Um, Kind of another off-brand of cheap fountain pens that I've showcased in other videos. I don't remember what it's called. It's not Mahjong though. It's something even cheaper. um, I had that inked up with the Noodlers Bad Green Gator. And then I also at the very end used a Pentel color brush pen in gray to add some more contrast to the clouds. Um, all of these pens of varying qualities and prices, hell, all of them worked pretty well. Um, I do like to kind of emphasize in my videos that you don't need a super fancy pen to get a really great writing experience. Um, so please don't let that be a deterrent for you to get into the fountain pen world, because I've found, and I did this too when I was first getting into it, that I kind of got scammed by a few pen brands, and that made me think that I needed to buy really expensive pens in order to have nice pens. And then the more I got into it, the I would go into like pen forums and like online groups to talk about pens, and I would kind of humbly present myself as like a pen newbie and talk about how my pens weren't as valid as other people's pens. And that kind of like brought me to what my favorite thing about the pen community is that people are so welcoming, and they really don't, even though like it's a collector's community and there's a lot of like high priced items and like super fancy collections, regardless, like nobody seems to care about that when it comes to like talking pens and just having that conversation and being welcoming to each other. So that's something that I just love about the pen community, because it's really not about how much money you spend that brings you acceptance into this community. It's more about just simply having a love and affection to fountain pens. And here I'm just finishing off the drawing with the gray. Um, and after that, I'm going to use one last supply, which is the Derwent ink tints in Sun Yellow. If you're not familiar with the ink tints, they're kind of like colored pencils. They're like water soluble colored pencils, but once they've been wetted down, they actually take on more ink-like properties. So they will become permanent or semi-permanent after you've kind of washed them down. So they're a really cute, awesome supply for this kind of application. Um, yeah, I can't believe I've just talked for close to about 10 minutes straight now, and I'm kind of running out of things to talk about. But yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Um, I am going to actually do a giveaway of this drawing at the end, so stick around just a few more minutes to see what you have to do in order to get the drawing. And yeah, it's a beautiful spring day here in North Carolina. Um, I'm really enjoying having some time off. Some of you guys may know that I took on a kind of a crazy job recently, and it's a contracted job, so they're actually doing some renegotiations of the contracts right now. So I'm actually have been out of work for a week, which is really scary. But hopefully I'll be able to get back into it soon, because I'm not a wealthy person. But anyway, that is the painting, and let's jump into the end of video recap. All right, and that is my drawing of the North Carolina mountains using the Sailor Tuzu for my under drawing, and the Jinhao 992 for some of the line work, and this other brand that I don't actually know what it's called. Um, that's also super cheap for some other line work, as well as some various inks. I have decided that I am in the mood to give away my art. And so if you would like to win this, or to have this drawing slash painting, all you have to do is let me know and send me a DM or an email letting me know that you'd like the drawing, and I'll pick somebody and send it to you. All right. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, evening, or night. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them in the comments section down below. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.